Hello and welcome to this edition of Turnaround Marriage Live. And I'm so glad to dive in today with a very important subject. And that is that your marriage is only part of the problem, and why you need to understand that, and why you need to be able to dial in other aspects of your own personal life and other aspects of your marriage in order to actually fix the marriage. And if you're out there today and you are one of those people that maybe you've recognized that things aren't the way that they should be in your marriage, and you've tried so many different things, like you've been praying for years and you've tried different helps and you've read the books and you've been talking to friends, and you've been trying to do everything that you know to do, and yet still the dynamics of the marriage haven't changed. Well, this is exactly the place that you need to be today. And so, first of all, I just want to make sure that you are finding us. If you search Turnaround Marriage on Facebook, you will find both our coaching page and you will find our group. We've got about 1,800 people in there. Make sure you are part of that group and you're hearing and seeing all kinds of updates and resourcing that we're putting out on there. Also, make sure that you check us out on YouTube. You can find us also by searching Turnaround Marriage. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'd appreciate if you share our content on there as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive in, guys. The fact is, marriages never get to a bad place or a difficult place, and the people are just fine in every other aspect of life. Like, we know, spiritually speaking and otherwise, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. If daddy ain't happy, ain't nobody happy there either. And right. And so we know that in the context of marriage, it is also, we are one flesh, biblically, spiritually. And if things are out of whack in the marriage, they're going to be out of whack personally. And if they're out of whack personally, they're going to be out of whack in the marriage as well. And that's what a lot of people, like, you hear me and that makes sense to you, but this is where a lot of people have a fundamental misunderstanding about what needs to happen, what needs to change in their marriage, because the marriage struggling always comes simultaneous with personal struggle, or vice versa. And then when things are not working out, when things are really frustrated, when you guys aren't connecting the way that you should, when you're maybe even feeling miles apart or walking on eggshells in the same house, like, it's not only not feeling good, but you're recognizing you're not showing up in life very well either. And my goodness, if you're so disconnected from your best friend, like, and the father or wife of father or mother of your children, like, everybody's feeling that. Everybody is. You're not sleeping right. This is affecting your health and your mood. And what came first, right? Was it the chicken or the egg? And we have to understand the holistic nature of what goes on there. But a lot of times it can even be reversed. It can be like, things are not going well at work, or the kids are having all kinds of issues, which oftentimes is related to the marriage. And the rubber meets the road. In other words, the pain point more than anywhere else is the marriage. And so people come to us and they say, we need marriage help, right? But always when people come to us about marriage help, it's never just the marriage that needs help. And so people can come and they think that they need the good tools, and maybe they do. Or maybe they think that they need to see the other person's needs. They probably need to understand what their wife needs, what their husband needs. They definitely need to understand the dynamics of marriage in general, but also the dynamics in their own marriage. Often, and this is the biggest thing that people come to us and they say, well, we need communication. Well, communication is really, really key, but we have to understand you cannot just address the marriage when things are not right in your personal lives either. It just won't work. It never works. Here's a great case in point. For the longest time, maybe 5-10 years, I got really bad migraine headaches. Now, I still every once in a while get a headache, but it's not like a migraine. If you've ever had migraines, you know what that's like. And it's horrific. It's horrendous. I mean, I was hospitalized a few different times because it was so bad. And it can really be totally incapacitating and just overwhelm you with the pain. It's a miserable place. And so I went to doctors and I went to specialists to try to fix the migraine headaches. And they gave me meds, and I had to carry a medication that I could take whenever the migraine came on, and it would work, but it didn't fix the problem. It did not fix the root of the problem. It turns out a lot of the problem was that things in my marriage actually weren't working well. And so it was looking like a whole lot of health problems too. But we dialed in a lot of different aspects of getting things in line in my body, in my heart, in my soul. And guess what? I don't have migraines anymore. And so it's interesting, like people, go to their doctors for the migraines, and actually people they had all these great ideas. Oh, you can get a ring put in part of your ear, or you can take this supplement, or you can do that, and everything's going to be a lot better. Sometimes those things helped a little bit, but they didn't solve it. They never really solved and made everything better. And so, guys, when we understand that we are holistic beings that way, and when things are not right personally, they can't be right in the marriage. And vice versa is also true. So you cannot just address the marriage. And again, so many misunderstand that. So, guys, everything in our personal lives have to be in alignment as well. And I thought of a few key examples that we see when people do come to us, aspects of their life that are not in alignment. And interestingly enough, they all begin with D's. So number one is they come to us depressed, like things have not been working right. And they feel, like they've been trying really hard and their spouse, is disconnected, or they don't feel loved or appreciated, or they're just sick and tired of the dynamics within their marriage. Or the biggest one is they really feel like failures. And when they feel like failures, they get depressed and they don't know how to get out of that. And it doesn't matter what marriage helps you have. If you have that depression piece locked in your mind, you're not going to be able to fix or change the dynamics in your marriage. Number two are the doubts. The doubts, and really connected with that, the negativity, the ingrained doubts about being able to fix things, the ingrained doubts about where your spouse is, and just living in this heightened sense of suspicion of the other person, and therefore also just having negativity about the situation and negativity about the life. In other words, you could say it this way: you're locked in being mean. You're locked into that place of being a mean person. And you have a lot of reasons in your mind and heart as to why, but you don't know how to get out of it. And so there again, case in point where that has to change. Number three is you're disconnected from God. Like you could not possibly be okay with God when things at home are not right. And even in the best case scenario, when you're trying to call out to God and your spouse is not reciprocating it, you're still not showing up the right way. And a lot of times you're feeling like, you're this failure and you can't approach God the way that you could or should. And ultimately, bottom line, you're disconnected from him. Number four, you're distracted with good things. You realize you can't control where things are in the marriage. It's not working. So you can pour into the family, pour into the kids, pour into extended family. You can pour your life into doing all kinds of good things. Maybe you're really connected in church, or you're working in your community. Maybe you're pouring into your friendships. Maybe you're doing good works in a lot of different ways. And even more so, you're pouring into that and priorities are out of whack in a lot of different ways. Or number five, you could be distracted by bad things. Like, maybe you become a workaholic, or maybe you become focused on the problems in your home or with extended family. Or it could mean that there's bad habits that you've dove into, obviously pornography being one of them, or even starting to text old flames, or flirting with other people, like a lot of bad habits that could really have gotten in the way. Number six, and this really kind of ties them all together, is being devoted to the wrong things, the wrong priorities, because it should look like God first, spouse second, kids third, family after that, friendships after that, and right along with it, church friends, and then everybody else after that. And so here is the reality is that almost always when people come to us, things are out of whack in one way, and usually more than that, multiple ways. And for one of these reasons, guys, and usually all of these are in place, if not many other things, this is just a sampling of the things that can go wrong in our personal lives, and therefore lead us to a place where even if we have the best help about marriage, we're not going to ultimately be able to turn things around. We're not going to be able to fix them because things are out of whack in a lot of different areas too. So what do we do about this? How do we change the dynamics? Well, you need to obviously, first of all, get godly priorities and diving into his word, diving into his plan for marriage and life is so critical. But how do we do that? Obviously, people, we have got a lot of great resources out there, but usually that isn't the problem. It isn't around marriage as much as we need to really give our hearts to God afresh and anew to get things in alignment. It's going to mean that you're going to shift the way that you think about things. This is really going to have to take place in order to change the dynamics. It's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing the same way, you're going to get the same results. And when you're not getting good results, it feels like you're going crazy. So you have to shift the way that you're thinking about things. You need to invite people into your life. Also, number two, they're going to point the truth out to you, that they're going to see the blind spots. And here's the problem with it. I want to warn you, if you invite into that space godly people who will tell you the things you don't want to hear, the things that you need to hear, those are the types of people you actually need in your life. The problem is most family and friends, they do the opposite. You come, you have coffee, you say, oh, my wife is being so mean. My husband, he just won't love me. And they'll say, oh, poor you. Oh, that's so sad. And they begin to solidify in your own mind and heart that you're right, they're wrong. And then that even more locks things in negatively with the personal problems and the marriage at the same time. And usually they begin to almost align themselves with the devil, saying, oh, you should just be done with them. You've put up with so much already, that kind of thing. Like they mean well, but they're actually partnering with the devil to point you to the lies and to drag you down and to point you away from God's plan for marriage and God's plan for godly priorities in your life. Bottom line, that's the hard truth. So guys, the thing I really want to recommend to you is that you check out our free masterclass, the 5-step strategy Christian couples use to completely turn their marriage around, to do it quickly, to recover intimacy and fall back in love again. Guys, this is going to help you to really understand the dynamics of your own heart and your marriage in a way that you've not seen them before. And this is going to really be that first step that's going to help you to change your thinking, but also it's going to help you to welcome in that outside help. Maybe that outside help you have already. Maybe you're going to need someone like Rachel and I who are experts that can jump into the situation and help you fix the marriage and help you fix the priorities and your own thinking at the exact same time, because this is what it's going to take. That's why church alone and having a sit down for a few minutes with the pastor here. That's why I go into counseling every few weeks. That's why reading a book, these things don't work. So check that out. You can go to turnaroundmarriage.live where you can see that masterclass. And until next time, we shall talk soon.